Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us, two dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from the hardware and the software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty Gensius, a faculty member at Kent State University, podcaster, and an avid Apple product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolden. I work in IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content, currently photography of plants and birds and spiders this weekend, and panoramic sequences.
Well, Eric, it's an interesting week, an interesting time to record because we're actually recording on the evening of Labor Day. We're holding to this Monday night schedule of recording, and I'm proud of it. I'm grateful for you being able to do that. So we can be streaming on a regular basis with folks joining us. And but not a lot of stuff in the news.
But there soon will. It's this
unfortunately. Yeah, but not for our show. That's the thing. They're going to be talking about iPhones and Apple Intelligence, but not much in terms of Vision Pro. So hopefully, after all of that jam is done with, we'll be able to see some big movement in Vision Pro, like a 2.1 update would be nice with the Mac virtual displays and those sort of things coming around. But right now they've got other fires they have to put out, and we're all looking to see what's going to happen in how many days? In a week, I guess, when they make their announcements for new Apple product. So it's a slow week and a slow weekend. Usually we get some articles that are written and ideas that are written over the weekend. And even today, Monday is kind of a big day for release on news and just not a lot there. So we're going to spend a little time with some apps. I did get some playtime in today with some new apps, and we're going to talk about those. But let's get into the news. First article comes from iMore. Of course, all these links are in our show notes and attached to the podcast and also on the video stream, on the YouTube stream. So it's interesting, this article. September won't see a Vision Pro 2. This is a iMore article informing us that we won't see a Vision Pro 2. Boy, that's a newsbreaker right there. Did they really think, are they still holding out? But you will get some new content for the headset. Does any of this content interest you?
I mean, there's going to be new software. That's almost like a new piece of hardware. But yeah, I have no idea what they were thinking other than to fill a page with words.
Yeah, I mean, they talked about Elevated, which was announced in July. And we're going to see the first in the Elevated series with Hawaii coming up on September 6th.
Yeah, that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So it'll be a flyover. I got the sense it's going to feel like a lot of screensavers. Those TV, Apple TV screensavers where they're flying over, cities and countries and things like that. I wonder if it's going to have any audio with it too. So it becomes more of a let's visit the 50 states sort of thing. And this week we're doing Hawaii. I don't know. We'll just have to see coming up on September 6th. Boundless is going to be released internationally. We saw that in the US, but it's going to be internationally available. Those are the guys who are doing parquet or parkour all over France. And did you look at the elephant video?
Yes. Yeah, that was good. I like that.
Yeah, it was very good. They're going to be doing more of those. And if you open it up on your Apple Vision Pro and go to Apple TV, you'll see that they have shows coming up. And they also have one show about wildlife that is a monthly charge. So I don't know if that's going to be sort of made for Vision Pro content, but there was a charge with it that's, I think, in cooperation with National Geographic, from what I could see. But there's
an existing show, or is that going to be 3D content?
I got the feeling it was going to be it was under immersive, so I got the feeling it's going to be 3D content. So, if you don't want to go see some artist there's that one app that has all the artists that I don't know. If you much rather look at elephants, I think this would be the monthly fee you'd want to go for. It's interesting. We'll see how that rolls out, and particularly after September 6th.
Well, and it's been impressing me the camera placement is
Mhm.
better now. The way they place the cameras for the elephants to kind of go around the camera, it's much more of a you happen to be standing there like a rock as everybody flows around you kind of feel. So it's I think they're getting a little more practice in filming.
Yeah, I kind of think that was the intern. They gave that job to the intern. Hold the camera, hold it really steady. Don't worry about the elephants walking towards you.
Good luck.
They didn't have to clean up after the elephant, but they did have to clean up after the intern.
Yeah, it was well done though.
Yeah. There are some other puzzle games. I like physics puzzles, those games that kind of have, ragdoll cannon and things like that,
Ah,
that you can play on your phone. I do enjoy the physics games, but there is a one called Castle Crumble, which is a physics-based puzzle game that's about
that was
bringing down. Well, that sounds like fun.
it is a blast. In fact, it was why I almost didn't make it because I was busy knocking down castles. It sort of kind of reminds me a little bit of Angry Birds, but it's not a 2D view of the world. You can kind of rotate around a little bit and see different sides of the castle and launch your rock and watch everything fall down and fall off the table.
Yeah, I like those I do enjoy those kind of games. And then Puzzle Sculpt is another one that's coming out on September 5th. It promises a Zen-like experience, you know. I'm sorry, when I'm trying to solve a puzzle, I don't necessarily feel like I'm having a Zen-like experience. Manipulating 3D puzzles. There are some really good 3D puzzle apps that are rather complicated. Well, for me, they're complicated, that you can get right now that I enjoy playing with. And their time sucks for me. I'll sit down and it's like, okay, just one more piece. Well, just one more piece. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can find the piece for this side of the wall. And those are a little bit tough. And then another iMore article talks about elevated, very short kind of article. And then it says, oh, by the way, it's going to cost you $3,500 to get a Vision Pro. It's like they have to tag that on to everything. There's not an article written about it. Do you think we don't know that by now? No, another article, this one by Mac Rumors. They talk about Puzzle Sculpt and Immersion Golf, which I think we've talked about here. Tag Heuer, which is, I guess, a golf. Are you a golfer? No. Chuck Joyner's a big golfer.
Yes.
And he knows the lingo here when we say Tag Heuer takes golf enthusiasts to the next level with detailed 3D maps and nearly 40,000 courses worldwide, which is really pretty cool. I've played with this. Now, the idea is you're going to use the app and you're going to put your data in and you're going to track your golf game on this course. And then with the Apple Vision Pro, you can relive the misery of playing golf because you can see how many strokes it really took you to get it out of the woods, not the two that you claimed. So, anyways, but it's very cool. It lays out a hole. You can do overhead looks at it. You can see the trajectory of the ball that you shot. It's really cool. Sand Blocks, the marble game, is another one that they talked about.
That was
Yeah. Have you played that or have you looked at it? Yeah.
yeah. It was a little frustrating. The first time I started, I kind of went through the demo and then it kind of got stuck. And I got out, got back in, and then it sort of made more sense. And it's kind of like some of those refrigerator based games where you've got gears and marbles and stuff, in 2D on a refrigerator with magnets. But this one, you're just out in space, so it was fun. You can build ramps and you get your marble to go down, and then you can do little road sequences, and if you get them off kilter, your marble just drops straight down and nothing happens with the rest of it because you didn't line everything up.
I looked at it. I didn't, but it to me, it sort of it made me think of the old mousetrap game where
Yes,
you
yeah,
started with a marble and you had to have everything, almost like a Rube Goldberg kind of
yeah.
design for it. And what else do they talk about? The PGA Tour app featured SharePlay, Synth Riders, and Apple Arcade. Beat Slash Mixed is another one.
That one,
Uh,
that one was interesting. There was another similar game, and the only issue I have with it is I, I'm gonna have to play it with somebody else present because I think there's color coding to tell you which
yeah,
hand you're supposed to use, and
right.
so I need somebody else to play it with me to tell me which hand, or I have
Well,
to figure out how to change the color coding.
you have Beat Slash, which I guess involves it's like Beat Saber
Uh-huh.
from the meta, and then you have Beat Punch, which we are going to talk about
Yeah.
later, but we might as well talk about now. That is a lot. That is so much like so much like Beat Saber that
But it's the same issue with color of what,
yeah, it's the same issue
right?
with color and its blocks. It's the directions of the blocks, and the blocks will come flying in overhead, and you
So
have
how,
to do an uppercut.
yeah.
Um,
So
they're they're
how did
they're
you figure out which color was which?
they're pink and blue. So that wasn't that much of a discrepancy for me.
Oh,
Pink was left, blue was right. And frankly, I only played the first one where there wasn't much crossover, but they even have the walls that kind of come up like they do in Beat Saber and Meta that I'm like, this is such a
yeah.
com- this is
That
with
was-
the fact that you don't have sabers, everything else about this game is just like Beat Saber. You're using your fists to punch, and you get this really kind of mechanical overlay of your hands that looks like you're a
Yes. Yeah.
cyborg.
That's nice.
I thought it was pretty cool. And I'm talking about Beat Punch
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
I didn't play Beat Slash, which was the one mentioned in
And
the
and and that one was fun too. I just can't tell the difference between the colors. So
yeah,
as I said, it's a wrong color combination. Maybe they'll come up with a switch at some point where they can pick two different colors that I can discriminate between.
I didn't even go into settings to see if there was some change possibility for that with
Oh,
Beat Punch. But that seemed like that would be a good accommodation. Mac Rumors has a similar article with these different games that we've spoken about here.
they were fun though. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you
And
play?
then finally, Super Bowl. They're going to send us some immersion video of the Super Bowl. This is a 9 to 5 Mac article. They also go into the other things that are about, Boundless is available worldwide. Wildlife will be available worldwide following its debut in the United States earlier this month. Castle Crumble, Puzzle Sculpt, and PGA Vision Tour. But primarily, they're talking about getting 4 minutes of inside Super Bowl
Hmm.
58. Did I get that right? LV 111. So that's, yeah,
Yeah.
58.
Hmm.
Short film next Friday. We'll take fans back to the Allegiant Stadium for the matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. So maybe something like the MLS
Yeah.
that we saw that was pretty impressive. I just wish they would turn this into a real, actual sporting event. I mean, there was that video that came out this week of a kid wearing a headset at some match. I
Oh,
forget what it was. He was sitting in the audience and somebody shot a video of him having his headset on and watching, maybe recording through the
oh,
headset of the game.
huh.
But I would just love to see this transformed into live sports events. Even baseball, which seems like it would be silly, but they're just making it immersive. Besides giving us, 6 months later, 4 minutes of immersive video.
Yeah. I think they need to get more people experienced in how to shoot it.
I would
And
take crappy. I would take crappy right now.
but are there really any good editors yet?
It's not an editor. It's a live. I'd see it as a live stream. I'd see it like running a television
Well,
a
normally
live.
though, you cut between cameras
Yeah.
because otherwise you just have the one guy at the one end running back and forth trying to film everything. So, you'd have to have a couple of spots of coverage, like, each of the end zones and maybe a couple side spots. And so you'd still want to be able to flip between cameras. And I don't know if that's ready quite yet. But yes, I
Well,
am with you. As soon as they have it, I've got my money out already to pay for it.
it's a bunch of cameras placed around the field and some guy with a switchboard switching from camera to camera, like they do now, but uh, with standard cameras.
Well,
So I
evidently it's complicated because I haven't seen it yet. And even the sequences at the end of the season where they pull little clips, it's almost like only certain of the clips worked and they
yeah,
pulled all the ones that look good and then skipped the other ones or something.
like I said, I'll take crap right now. I don't need
Yeah.
perfection. They can work it out later, but I would be happy to watch that. Switching gears, we're going to go to beta 8.
Oh, wait. Before we do that, did you play Flappy Experience?
No.
So the old Flappy Bird, when you play it, it's like you click a button to get the bird to flap and go higher and higher.
Oh, okay.
And you
Yeah.
watch and you try to line it up so it can fly through, whatever obstacle. But this one, you are the bird,
Oh,
which
yeah.
means
Okay. I saw a
you're
video of
holding your
that.
arms out and you are flapping, trying to go high enough to get over the obstacle or stop flapping so you can glide down so that you don't hit. I have a big headache and my arms are really tired, but it was a different experience.
Yeah. I saw a video of that and I didn't realize that's what you actually had to do. You had to flap your own arms.
Yeah.
Well, I got my COVID booster yesterday,
Oh, so
along
you'd be
with
all set. You might as well, they do say
yeah,
exercise that
because
muscle.
my
Feel the
arms are
pain.
nice and sore. Plus the flu vaccine. So
Did you do one in each arm or did you double dip on one arm?
no, they did. They did it in double dipped in one arm because I have a Libre sugar device stuck in the other arm. Unfortunately, the arm they did it in is on the side that I sleep in, so it was
Oh.
kind of a bummer of a night. But no, I'm not ready. If I could flappy with this arm with just one arm, I'd be okay. But to have to flappy with both arms right now is another thing. I saw it, haven't played it. Get the concept of having to get over these little thresholds while they're coming at you, while
Yeah.
the surface underneath you is moving. So, we bring this every time, beta release notes, and it's beta 8. I couldn't, what they do is they quickly remove beta 7 release notes. They'll leave the beta 1s in, but not the 2s. Every time they release a new one, they take the old one out. Because I'd like to do a side by side comparison to see if there's anything truly new. It just doesn't seem. Some of this looks so familiar. And we're getting at the end of, and even the articles that talk about it, they don't talk about it. They just say, here's all the things that's going to happen in Vision 02, 2.0. We know about this. And these are things that you can expect to come out with this version, but not this beta. So, they always talk about Vision, the cinematic sort of thing that you can do, a virtual display, but it's not there yet. Probably won't be there till 2.1. I don't know. Do you get anything from these?
No, although if you go into settings to show all of the resolutions on the display, I at least was able to get a larger display, like 5200 something by something. Um, it's not the big massive. It's not the double wide 4K display, but it seemed like it was bigger than what I was able to get before and still stable. So
Yeah.
maybe they're tweaking a few things. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I would imagine if I'm a developer, this would mean more to me looking at some of the things that they fixed, but in terms of a explanation of what that really means, it's hard to determine. And again, I think a lot of this is left in from beta to beta, just
Yeah.
so everybody knows that stuff's been fixed in previous betas. Yeah, I think, when you're talking about resolution and window size, I know that's real important to you because you're using your device as literally as a projectable
Screen. Yeah.
screen for you to do your work on. So an article in MacTrast about that, and then I'll also post the notes, the documentation on Beta 8. Okay. There is a pretty significant article on sound and a bunch of patents. This is by headphonesty.com, looking at Apple patents around sound. They talk about a flexible, detachable audio technology. And all I could think about was frame foam that we have as being detachable and also fitting around, and that somehow containing speakers augment the sound. Frankly, I think the sound is fine, is good, but this is a patent that Apple's playing or that has filed, and it's about basically if you could take a speaker, a flat speaker, and be able to bend it and not lose its capabilities. For me, and then they have this really some of these diagrams I get are so childish in terms of what they are. There's nothing complicated about them, but they have one that looks like it's got a series of magnets that is bendable. And I'm like, great, this is just like walking around with an MRI on your head. Do you really want to have magnets attached to your head for the purpose of sound? And then they also talk about having devices that can hang around your neck and augment the speakers that are in the headset, and then the whole idea of head tracking and spatial audio. And they have some diagrams and patents around that.
And I
Using
do,
a bill,
yeah, I do think that the head tracking and spatial audio is something that's going to get a lot of, or that will have a lot more work done over the next couple of years. But you don't have to do that in the headset. You just have to do that in whatever listening,
yeah,
whatever AirPods or whatever. But if they put a camera or additional sensors in those, so they're better able to tell, which way you're facing, I think that'll make a big difference.
yeah, I could see, particularly with some of the immersive video experiences that you can have, like you're in a theater, that some of the sound should be coming from behind you, not just
Yep.
either side of you or around the front or coming at you visually that way, but some should be coming from behind you too. And particularly with this headset, because this headset is all about immersion and having a 360. If I can throw a window back there, I should be able to throw some sound back there too. So,
Well, I've been pretty impressed so far that, unless you really crank the sound up, it's really good for you, but it doesn't really bother everybody right around you. I mean, you have to be
mhm.
pretty close to notice it. There are a couple things where it's loud enough, or if I'm really close, sitting right next to somebody, then I put in some AirPods and go for sealing the sound away. I'm not sure. I mean, if you added more speakers and more surround sound, I don't know how you do that without causing it to leak to the surrounding area.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with the AirPods, particularly when I'm traveling. I mean, because it's not disturbing other people as much as it's blocking out the sound of airplane engines.
Oh yeah.
So in my ears I have such bad tinnitus from years of working in radio and going to bad rock concerts that, people who are really into fidelity, it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't matter. You could have it through a cup and a string, and it will be just as good of a sound for me as anybody else. Couple of short articles, actually not even articles, they're posts on X. This I thought was an interesting concept, and we have a link to it. You can watch some of the video, but it's a trainer for volleyball. It's a virtual trainer for volleyball. So they show somebody putting the headset on, and then half the screen, they show you what their view is. And their view is the ball coming to them like it's been served to them, and then a grid in front of them with suggested places where to spot. So it's training them
Ah,
the subtleties of spotting, turning their wrists a little bit to get it into, and the strength in which they hit the ball to return it to certain spaces. Pretty cool engagement of it.
that is really neat.
Yeah, the video shows someone in a gym basically, and then
Yeah.
capturing that video of what it looks like within the set, of what they're seeing. And on the right, you see them making the movements. Just another opportunity to use the headset.
Yeah, that's really cool. Hopefully we'll see
And yeah, you want to talk about games?
more than we just have.
Well, yeah, we do the games. Well, we'll do the games and the apps at the end. That's why we do show notes, Eric. Tells you
Well,
what's coming up next.
you sent me an article and then you went and you gave me some really cool stuff and then I got distracted, but
Okay. All
we'll
right.
see how far we can get. I have a few missing pieces, although I can talk about Beat Punch, even though we did.
So can I. It kind of exhausted me.
Now
Anyway,
I will say that if you're running low on exercise minutes and
yeah.
you get your watch all set up, it does let you get more exercise minutes without having to go run around outside in the dark.
It's funny because when I ran it, I didn't have my watch on, but at the end, I got the rings.
Really?
So I don't know if it's kind of gauging my movement, and it still gave me rings for the time that I had put in.
All right,
So
I'll
let's,
try that.
yeah. So Beat Punch, since we're talking about it, your concerns were colors,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, and what I ended up doing is I just set it up where it's sharing to an iPad, and then I had somebody else tell me which hand I was supposed to be using.
Wow.
And then after a while, you kind of get used to it, sort of, and then it's like, well, this one's a little darker, this one's a little lighter, and then kind of I could go until it was a really different pattern. But yeah, it basically all the colors look the same to me. So
You should submit that as a comment to the developer because
yeah,
that's an
just to
that's
tweak
an
them a little.
easy fixed. Yeah, that's a settings, and it's helps with accommodation. So one could be dots, one could be X's. And then you know which one is which.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now there
yeah.
is a setting where you can make everything black and white, and I
Uh-huh.
didn't get a chance to try that to see if there was enough differentiating between the colors for that to still work. So I will try that in a future week.
Yeah, I got through the first trial and actually did pretty good with it. It's pretty intuitive. That first trial one is relatively slow, not complicated, and was had about an hour before we recorded tonight, and I wanted to check some of these things out.
Yeah. Well, and if you keep going, then you get a little bit more complicated patterns. But it was entertaining and enjoyable, even if I had to have some help to coordinate myself.
So Block Stack, did you see this link?
I saw the link. I just didn't get a chance to actually try it yet.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet either. And I put it in there and then did not get to it. But it's a Jenga game, basically. It's a 3D Jenga game, and they have a video on this link that shows someone playing Block Stack on the beach, which is where I play all my Jenga, and using that environment. And I was going to go in and get it on test flight and play with it for a little bit. It's a basic game. And they're still working on the development of it, but it's kind of fun. Looks kind of fun.
Looks stressful, but it's on a beach, so kind of. And I don't think you have to worry about wind.
I wonder if at some point this can be all we're seeing is one person playing it. So how do you manage to play Jenga with one person? Is the goal, I guess, just to beat the stacking versus playing someone else where they tumble it?
Oh yeah, it looks like it's by score, but yeah, maybe they'll add it so you can have two Vision Pro users playing and alternating.
Yeah, this looks like a potential game for in space. You have one of those in your apartment, and more people can come over, and you can challenge as many people as you want to play something like this. So,
well, it's definitely on my list to try. I have not gotten to it yet.
So I know a drummer who's played professionally, and I always thought it would be fun to pick up the drums just because I think it would be good for me physically to be able to do it and it would be interesting to do. Spatial Drums is a app and it's $2.99, and so I went ahead and put the money down for it. And like most of these things where the app starts out with, we're going to set up the drum set with you, it never seems to get the right distance for me.
Oh,
Any object that you create or that has to be placed before you to interact with, it's either it's too far away from me or it's really too close to me, like I'm sitting on the drums.
yeah.
So that made it a little difficult. One of the things I wanted to check out was the bass drum because it has a foot pedal supposedly
Hmm.
that it can recognize your foot movement, and I never got it to do that. And it might have been where I was sitting on the couch, the fact that other objects in the way, or a coffee table and things like
Ah,
that. But it was pretty fun. I mean, it was cool. It was and there are lessons. So they have some short lessons in there that will show you the basics of drumming. So just kind of a cool little concept.
ah, that does sound kind of fun. All right, another one to add to my list.
This one I think you'd like if you haven't seen it yet. Ha ha, little pun there. Seno, Sceno.
Huh.
It's I tried to get I I played with it a little bit and tried to what it can do is it can access your library, your picture
Uh-huh.
library, and it can populate its database, your database with your pictures.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, oh, I've taken so many pictures in Turkey. I wonder if it will populate that. It located those pictures, recognized that they were part of that space. And so I moved the globe over to go to Turkey, and it put me like in Google Maps. So you had to stretch it and then you had to,
Okay.
select a place you're going to, and I guess from there I could walk around and run into the pictures that I shot
Ah, okay.
because it would know the place where it
Where they
was.
were.
So for a photographer, particularly if you do some global stuff or have done some global stuff, I guess, or anywhere domestic, this could be really
Hmm.
cool. It's got a lot to the app, I'll tell you that. uh, $10 for a year. Not a bad. I went ahead and paid for it, even though I hadn't gotten much of a demo out of it yet. But I went ahead and paid for it because there's a lot in it, and it seems to be working pretty good. It's this mashup of what I'd say is like Google Streets and
Your picture. Huh.
where your geo positions where your pictures were taken.
Do you know if it can do immersive pictures as well, or just
Well, that's part
2D?
of it. I mean, it says immersive gallery and panoramas, so
Oh,
you
okay.
could
So,
you
so
could
you
put those pictures
get
in.
all of those. All right. Definitely have
I
to go.
have more panoramas than I have immersive shots.
Hmm.
And so like I have a temple of 10,000 Buddhas as a panorama. And so I'll go back in and check it. Seno, Sceno, Step Inside Memories. And it's only, I like apps that are only available for Apple Vision Pro
Yeah.
because otherwise that means it's made to do something in Apple Vision Pro that can't be done on any other platform.
Yeah, it's not a compromise.
Now, we might have spoke about this before, this last one. It's Camo Studio, and this is
Yeah.
pretty cool. I went into it, and
Mhm.
when I got into it, it had me in the corner of a screen, which was empty at the time, but my persona in the corner of the screen. This is also available for iPad use. But what you can do is you can stream from your headset directly to services. You can
Oh.
also record it on your own headset. But
Hmm.
there are four services. Trovo, I think, is one of them. Trovo. It's basically, when I looked at it, because I hadn't heard about this one before, they promote themselves as being a gamers streaming app.
Okay.
And then there was Twitch, and there was YouTube and Facebook. So
Hmm.
those are the four streaming possibilities at this point. But the idea that for me, if I'm going to do demos, then if I can set it up to stream directly to YouTube and people can watch it who are sitting around the same room with me can watch it on YouTube. It's a lot. It has a lot of purpose for me in terms. I've got some training coming up in the next 6 weeks where I'm going to need to do some streaming of what's going on inside the headset. And I might check with you on that for ideas about the easiest way to do that. But this looks like it's got possibilities.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, I thought you might.
We might have to come back to a couple of these once we've had more time to play.
Okay. I'm game with that. Anything else for the show at this point?
No. I mean, there's the stuff coming out at the end of the week. But yeah, it's sort of an in-between week. Shorter show this week, I think, and then there's going to be a lot coming up.
Yeah. Next week, I'm going to Chicago to my sister's block party, and I'm half tempted to put my headset on and record the block party just because I have the headset. I have nothing to record. So at least this is something that I can record that there's activity in. It depends on how much of a geek I want to be in public. So
just wear the right shirt. You'll be good.
So maybe I'll have some video. I can talk about that experience. And then we'll be back a week from today on Monday night to record another show as we always do. Well, yeah. Like I said,
then we can talk about the new immersive videos that came out.
Yeah, we can talk about the new immersive videos. And, there might be some space in there because we'll get our show out probably before anybody else to talk about what was released. Are you in the market for anything new? Phone, watch?
New phone. I think that's probably the biggest. I would have gone for a new watch, but I use the oxygen sensor and it's not clear how they're going to resolve that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to keep the one I have for now and keep it under warranty. And then once that gets resolved, then I can upgrade.
Are you not updating that in order to retain the oxygen sensor on it?
As long as you got it ahead of time, you're good. It still gets the oxygen sensor. Okay. And then you want to keep it under warranty because if you damage it and it's under warranty, they will give you one with a working oxygen sensor. If it goes out of warranty, then they just replace it with a new one and you don't get the oxygen sensor back.
Well, the rumor is they might have something new with the oxygen sensor on the new watch to kind of make up for that faux pas with the previous one, and or looking at
they're supposed to have sleep apnea.
Oh man.
But they need the oxygen sensor for that. We'll see. Maybe they came up with something.
Well, I lease all my stuff. I guess no. I purchase all my stuff, and then when it comes to the next year model, I just swap it in. Do that with phones. Do that with watches.
Yeah, I've got a list of people that want hardware, and my primary reason for upgrading my phone, one, to try and get a higher resolution camera for the immersive video, but then I also have somebody that wants my current phone.
So you're looking at a 16 Pro Max then?
Pro Max, yeah.
And what do you have now?
15 Pro Max.
Yeah. So yeah, I usually do the annual updates on those things. So, well, that I think wraps the show.
Yep, sounds good.
Thanks for tuning in. And watching us or listening to us. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have any ideas or want to join in on an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. I am messing around with the website. I've gotten so frustrated with WordPress that I'm going to probably be moving most of the content over to a link on the podtalk.net. So if you go to the podtalk.net, you'll get more information now, including RSS stream of all of the previous podcasts. So you can connect to the audio directly from that site. And I'm going to load it up with all the other connections that we have with that and another show that I do. Just the visionprofiles.info site has given me headaches. Trying to update it to a new template is I think it pretty much wiped it out. So I've got to do some linking from that or sending it over. I think I might try and pull it over as a URL or as a URL for my other site as a redirect. So get a hold of us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Learn more about us and the Vision Profiles podcast at our website. I'll send you to thepodtalk.net and look for the Vision Profiles link on that for more information, and all the other available podcasts at thepodtalk.net. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.